The Dominion was the most powerful force in the galaxy. They had conquered 12 star systems in just 1 year. Their ships were not made of metal like normal ships. They were alive. They grew like plants and healed themselves when damaged. No one had ever stopped them. When they looked at their star maps, they saw a small group of planets near the edge of the galaxy. Humans lived there. They knew very little about humans. They only knew that humans were young. They had only been traveling through space for 300 years. That was nothing compared to the who had ruled the stars for 10,000 years. Admiral stood on the bridge of her ship, She was a small woman with gray hair and tired eyes. She had served in the fleet for 30 years. She had never lost a battle, but today she knew she would lose. Her tactical officer lieutenant looked at his screens. His face was pale. "Admiral, I count 300 enemy ships. We have 43. Nodded slowly. She had known this was coming. They never sent small forces. They believed in total destruction. "What about the evacuation?" she asked. "The transport ships are still loading civilians from station. They need at least 12 more hours." 12 hours. Looked at the enemy fleet on her screen. The ships looked like giant insects. They were black and purple with long legs that held weapons. They moved together like a swarm of bees. "Then we give them 12 hours, she said. Stared at her. "Admiral, that is impossible. We cannot hold them for 12 hours. We cannot hold them for 1 hour. We will hold them for as long as we can. Every minute matters, every second matters." She turned to face her bridge crew. They were all young. Most of them had never seen real combat. "I will not lie to you. We are going to die today, but we are going to die for a reason. Those transport ships are carrying 50,000 people, families, children. If we run, they die. If we fight, some of them live." The bridge was silent. Then a young officer named Bora spoke up. She was only 22 years old. "What are your orders, Admiral?" Smiled. It was a sad smile, but it was real. "We fight." The battle began 1 hour later. The fleet did not even try to form proper attack patterns. They simply flew straight at the human ships. Why would they bother with tactics? They outnumbered the humans 7-1. Their ships were bigger and stronger. This was not a battle. This was an execution. But the humans did not run. They fired first. Its missiles flew across the dark space between the two fleets. They hit a cruiser and exploded. The cruiser shook but did not break. Its living hull began to heal immediately. "Minimal damage," reported. "Their ships repair too fast." "Then we hit them faster," said. "All ships, concentrate fire. Pick one target and destroy it before moving to the next." The human fleet obeyed. 43 ships fired everything they had at a single destroyer. The destroyer tried to heal, but the damage was too much. It broke apart in a flash of purple light. They were surprised. They had expected the humans to die quickly. Instead, the humans were fighting back. They were actually destroying ships. Archon watched the battle from her flagship, the World Eater. She was the supreme commander of the fleet. She had conquered 37 planets. She had never failed. "Interesting," she said. "The humans have some courage. It will not save them." She gave an order. The fleet stopped playing games. They attacked with full force. The next 10 hours were the longest of Admiral's life. She watched her ships die one by one. The Brave Star was the first to fall, then the Morning Light, then the Hope of Earth. Each time a ship exploded, she felt the pain in her heart. These were her people, her family. But they did not stop fighting. Lieutenant was wounded when a blast hit the bridge. He had burns on his face and arms, but he refused to leave his station. "I can still work," he said. "I will not leave you, Admiral." Young Bora took command of the weapons when the weapons officer was killed. Her hands were shaking, but her aim was true. She destroyed 3 enemy fighters before a piece of metal hit her shoulder. By the 11th hour, only 5 human ships remained. They was badly damaged. Half the crew was dead. The engines were failing, but they were still fighting. Admiral said, his voice was weak. The last transport just entered hyperspace. They are safe. Closed her eyes. 50,000 people would live. That was enough. That was worth everything. Send a message to Earth, she said. Tell them what happened here. Tell them they are coming. Tell them. She paused. Tell them not to mourn us. Tell them to prepare. The message was sent. 47 minutes later it would reach Earth, but Admiral would not live to know that. The died in a ball of fire. Admiral died with her ship still giving orders, still fighting. She was 61 years old. She had served humanity her entire life, and in her final moment she did not feel fear. She felt pride. They celebrated their victory. Archon broadcast a message to the entire galaxy. The human infestation has been removed. There will fall within days. Nothing can stop us now. Across the galaxy, other species heard this message. They felt sad for the humans. Another young race had been destroyed. It happened all the time. The strong ate the weak. That was the way of the universe. But none of them knew the truth. None of them knew about the ships hidden beneath Earth's oceans. None of them knew about the weapons waiting in the darkness of space. None of them knew that Admiral's sacrifice was part of a plan that had been made 200 years ago. The humans were not dead. They were not even close to dead. And they had made a terrible mistake. 3 kilometers beneath the Pacific Ocean, there was a city that no one knew about. It was called Deep Station 1. It had been built 200 years ago in complete secret. Only a few thousand people knew it existed, and those people had kept the secret their entire lives. Director stood in the main control room of Deep Station 1. She was 54 years old, with short black hair and sharp eyes. She had worked for the United Earth Defense Initiative for 30 years. She had been director for the last 10. Every day of those 10 years, she had prepared for this moment. "Show me the enemy fleet," she said. The holographic display lit up. It showed 800 warships moving toward Earth. They were arranged in a simple formation. No defensive screens, no protection for their supply ships. They were not expecting any resistance. Commander stood beside her. He was her chief of operations, a tall man with a calm voice. "They will reach lunar orbit in 18 days. They are not hurrying. They think we are already defeated." "Good," said. "Let them think that. What is our current status?" Pulled up another display. This one showed Earth and the surrounding space, but instead of being empty it was filled with dots. Thousands of dots. Each dot was a ship. 4,700 active warships, said. 2,000 in the Pacific Fleet, hidden beneath the oceans. 800 in the Antarctic base. 600 inside hollow asteroids in the belt. The rest are scattered in hidden positions throughout the solar system. Looked at the dots. Each one represented years of work, billions of hours of labor, trillions of credits spent in secret. 3 generations of humans had built this fleet. They had built it knowing they might never use it. They had built it hoping they would never need to. Now they needed it. "They have never seen our real ships," she said. "They have only seen the decoys we sent to the outer colonies. Small ships, weak weapons, old technology." "That was the plan," said. "For 200 years we pretended to be weak. We let the galaxy think we were a minor species. We let them laugh at us. And now we show them the truth." In the frozen depths of Antarctica, Captain walked through the corridors of his ship, the Indomitable. It was a Prometheus-class dreadnought, the largest warship humanity had ever built. It was 2 kilometers long. It carried weapons that had never been fired in combat. It had a crew of 1,200, and every single one of them had been training for 7 years. Was 42 years old. He had never fought in a real battle. None of them had. The secret fleet had never left the solar system, but they had trained every day. They had run simulations thousands of times. They knew the ships better than the did. He entered the main armory, where Lieutenant was checking the weapons. She was young, only 28, but she was the best weapons officer in the fleet. She could hit a target the size of a car from 1,000,000 kilometers away. "How are we looking?" asked. Smiled, "They are at full power. We have 2,000 missiles in the bays. Point defense is online and ready." She paused. "And the energy weapons are charged." The energy weapons. Humanity's secret advantage. The used missiles and plasma cannons like most species in the galaxy. But Earth's scientists had developed something different. Directed energy beams that moved at the speed of light. Weapons that could not be dodged or blocked. "Have they ever seen anything like our energy weapons?" asked. "No one has ever seen anything like them. We developed them in secret. We tested them in secret. The first time the galaxy sees them will be the last thing the fleet ever sees." Nodded. He walked to the nearest window and looked out at the ice above them. In 18 days, this ship would rise from the frozen sea and enter the battle that would decide humanity's future. "I received the report about Admiral," he said quietly. "She held them for 11 hours. She saved 50,000 people." Smile faded. She was a hero. She was more than that. She knew the truth. She knew we had this fleet waiting. She knew her sacrifice was not pointless. Turned to face. "When we fight for her. We fight for everyone who died at station. We fight for everyone who ever believed in us." "Yes, Captain." Back in Deep Station 1, Director was implementing her plan. It was called Operation Silence. For 18 days, Earth would pretend to be helpless. "Begin broadcasting panic signals," she ordered. "Fake news reports, civilian chaos, government collapse. Make it look like we are falling apart." "They will intercept these signals," said. "That is the point. They will see what they expect to see. A weak, frightened planet waiting to be conquered. They will become careless. They will spread their fleet thin. They will not protect their supply lines. And then—" His eyes were cold. "And then we teach them what fear really means." The signals went out. Across Earth, fake broadcasts showed riots in the streets, governments arguing about surrender terms, civilians begging for mercy. It was a perfect performance. Every detail had been planned years in advance. They intercepted the signals and laughed. Archon watched the broadcasts in her command room and felt nothing but contempt. These humans were pathetic. They could not even face death with dignity. "Should we increase our speed?" one of her officers asked. "We could reach Earth in 12 days instead of 18. Shook her head. "There is no need to hurry. Let them suffer in fear for a few more days. Let them know that death is coming and they cannot stop it. That is the true victory, not just killing them but breaking their spirits first." She did not know that every word she said was being recorded. She did not know that hidden sensors in the outer solar system were tracking every ship in her fleet. She did not know that beneath the ice, beneath the oceans, inside the asteroids, 4,700 warships were powering up their weapons. Humanity was waiting, and humanity was ready. The Armada entered Earth's orbital space on the 18th day. 800 warships spread across the darkness like a wall of death. Their living hulls glowed with purple light. Their weapons were charged and ready. They had come to end a species. Archon stood on the bridge of her flagship, the World Eater. She looked at the blue and green planet below her. It was beautiful. She did not care. She had seen dozens of beautiful planets. She had burned them all. "The humans are requesting communication," her aide said. Smiled. This was her favorite part. The begging, the crying, the desperate hope that maybe, just maybe, the conquerors would show mercy. They never showed mercy. "Put it on all screens," she ordered. "Let the entire fleet watch them grovel." The face that appeared was Director. She looked exactly as expected. Tired, defeated, broken. Her eyes were red as if she had been crying. Her voice shook when she spoke. "Please," said, "we cannot fight you, we know this. We ask only that you spare our civilian population. We will cooperate. We will do whatever you want. Just please do not kill everyone." Laughed. It was a cruel sound. You think you have the right to ask for mercy. Your species expanded beyond your home system. You entered our territory. You knew the punishment for that. We did not know, his voice cracked. We did not know anyone owned those stars. We were just exploring. We meant no harm. Ignorance is not an excuse. Your colony ships were a threat to our empire. We removed the threat. Now we will remove you. Then you refuse to negotiate. There is nothing to negotiate. Your world belongs to us now. Your people will serve us or die. Those are the only options. There was a pause. Face changed. The fear disappeared. The tears stopped. Her eyes became hard and cold like steel. When she spoke again, her voice was perfectly calm. "Thank you for making that clear," she said. "I wanted to be sure we gave you every chance." Frowned. Something was wrong. This was not how victims behaved. "What do you mean?" "I mean that for 200 years we hoped we would never have to do this. We hoped the galaxy would leave us alone. We hoped we could grow in peace." Leaned forward. "You ended that hope. You killed our people. You burned our colonies. You came here to destroy our home." "Yes, and you cannot stop us." "You are wrong." The transmission ended. Stared at the empty screen. A strange feeling crept into her chest. She had never felt it before. It took her a moment to recognize it. Fear. "Archon," her sensor officer called. His voice was shaking. "We are detecting energy signatures, massive energy signatures. They are everywhere." "What, where?" "Behind us, above us, below us, inside the asteroids, rising from the planet's oceans." Spun to look at the tactical display. What she saw made her blood freeze. The asteroids were opening. The hollow rocks that had floated harmlessly past her fleet were splitting apart. Inside each one was a group of warships, human warships, hundreds of them. The oceans of Earth were boiling. Ships were rising from beneath the waves. They were enormous, bigger than anything she had ever seen. Their hulls gleamed silver in the sunlight. Their weapons glowed with blue fire. And there were thousands of them. "Impossible," whispered. "This is impossible. They only had 40 ships. We destroyed them all." "Archon, we are being targeted. Enemy weapons are locking onto our fleet." Captain stood on the bridge of the Indomitable. The ice of Antarctica fell away from his ship as it rose into the sky. Around him, 600 other vessels were emerging from their hiding places. The secret fleet was finally free. "All batteries charged and ready," Lieutenant reported. Her hands were steady. Her voice was calm. This was the moment she had trained for her entire adult life. Looked at his tactical display. The fleet was in chaos. They were trying to reform their formation, but they were too spread out. They had not expected to fight. They had come to conquer a helpless world. They had made a terrible mistake. "All ships," said into the fleet communication channel. "This is Captain of the Indomitable. Today we fight for everyone we have lost. Today we fight for the future of our species. Today we show the galaxy that humanity is not prey." He paused. 4,700 ships were listening to his words. "Fire." The energy beams struck first. They moved at the speed of light. They could not dodge them. They could not block them. The beams cut through organic hulls like hot knives through butter. Ships that had never known damage suddenly found themselves burning. The fired next. Massive chunks of metal accelerated to incredible speeds. They hit the ships and passed straight through, leaving holes the size of houses. The living hulls tried to heal, but the damage was too severe. They died before they could repair themselves. Missiles followed, thousands of them. Smart weapons that hunted their targets and adjusted their paths. They swarmed around the ships and exploded in waves of fire. Archon screamed orders. Return fire, form defensive positions, protect the flagship. But it was too late. The humans had planned this attack for 200 years. They knew every tactic. They knew every weakness in the organic ships. They knew exactly where to hit, exactly when to hit, and exactly how hard to hit. The fleet was dying. Ships exploded one after another. The purple glow of their hulls was replaced by the orange fire of destruction. Escape pods launched into space, filled with who had never imagined they could lose. In Deep Station 1, Director watched the battle on her holographic display. Red dots disappeared one by one as ships died. Green dots moved with perfect coordination as human fleets worked together. "Losses?" she asked. "7 ships so far," Commander reported. "They have lost 240. 7 to 240. Allowed herself a small smile. The plan was working. After 2 centuries of waiting, pretending, and preparing, humanity was finally showing its true face. And the galaxy would never forget this day. The battle lasted 9 hours, but it was not really a battle. It was a lesson. The Dominion had ruled the galaxy through fear for 10,000 years. They had conquered hundreds of worlds. They had destroyed dozens of species. They believed they were invincible. They believed no one could challenge them. They were wrong. Captain guided the Indomitable through the chaos of the battlefield. Around him, ships burned and broke apart. The space was filled with debris and fire. Escape pods drifted helplessly. Distress signals filled every communication channel. "Enemy carrier group at coordinates 47, Lieutenant reported. "They are trying to launch fighters." "Do not let them," said. "3rd Squadron intercept." 20 human destroyers turned toward the carriers. They fired their energy weapons in perfect synchronization. The carriers never had a chance. They exploded before a single fighter could launch. In Deep Station 1, Director coordinated the entire battle. She moved fleets like pieces on a game board. She saw patterns they could not see. She predicted their moves before they made them. "The enemy is trying to retreat," Commander reported. "They are moving toward the outer solar system." "Block their escape route," ordered. "Admiral, bring your fleet around from behind." Admiral had been waiting in the asteroid belt for 6 months. Her fleet of 800 ships was fresh and ready. She moved them into position behind the fleeing. "They have nowhere to go," reported. "We have them surrounded." They realized they were trapped. Some of them kept fighting, but their hope was gone. Others simply stopped. They powered down their weapons and waited for death. Archon watched her empire die. The World Eater had been badly damaged in the first minutes of the battle. Its engines were destroyed. Its weapons were offline. Half its crew was dead. She was trapped on a dying ship, surrounded by enemies she had underestimated. "Archon," her communications officer said, "the humans are hailing us." His first instinct was to refuse. She would rather die than surrender to these insects. But then she thought of her crew. They had served her faithfully. They did not deserve to die because of her pride. "Accept the communication," she said. Captain's face appeared on her screen. He was young for a commander. His expression was calm, almost gentle. There was no hatred in his eyes, no joy in her suffering. He simply looked at her like she was a problem that needed to be solved. "Archon," he said, "your fleet is destroyed. You have no weapons, no engines, and no hope of escape. I am offering you one chance to surrender. Take it." "Why?" asked. "Why would you show mercy? We came to destroy you." "Yes, you did, and you failed. That is punishment enough." Leaned forward. "We are not like you. We do not kill for pleasure. We do not destroy for pride. We fight only when we must. And now that the fighting is over, we have no desire to murder helpless prisoners." Stared at him. She had conquered 37 worlds. She had met hundreds of species. None of them had ever spoken to her like this. None of them had ever shown such strange mercy. "You deceived us," she said finally. "You pretended to be weak." "We never pretended anything. We simply did not advertise our strength. You saw what you wanted to see. A young species, a small fleet, an easy target," shook his head. "Every species in this galaxy looked at us and assumed we were prey. They assumed that because we did not threaten them, we could not hurt them. You were not the first to make that mistake, but I hope you are the last. What do you want from us? Your unconditional surrender. Your fleet will stand down. Your soldiers will become our prisoners. You will be treated fairly and humanely, and then we will discuss the future. Closed her eyes. Her entire life she had been the strong one. She had been the conqueror. She had decided who lived and who died. Now she was the conquered. Now someone else held her fate in their hands. She opened her eyes and gave the order. All ships, this is Archon, power down your weapons. Surrender to the human forces. The war is over. The fighting stopped. The last ships went dark. The human fleet moved through the battlefield, collecting escape pods and rescuing survivors. They did not shoot the helpless. They did not torture the wounded. They simply helped. They did not understand. This was not how war worked. This was not how victory was supposed to look. The winners were supposed to be cruel. They were supposed to punish the losers. That was the way of the galaxy. But the humans did not care about the way of the galaxy. In the final count, they had lost 741 ships. Only 59 survived, all damaged. The humans had lost 19 ships, 19 out of 4,700. Commander delivered the report to Director. It is done. The fleet is destroyed. Nodded, she did not smile. She did not celebrate. Thousands of beings had died today on both sides. That was not something to celebrate. Open a channel to every occupied system, she said. It is time the galaxy learned what happened here. What message should we send? Thought for a moment. She thought about Admiral, who had died buying time for this victory. She thought about the generations of humans who had worked in secret, building the fleet that saved their species. She thought about all the other species in the galaxy who were still living under rule. Tell them the truth, she said. Tell them that the Dominion proclaimed victory too soon. Tell them that Earth's warships arrived. And tell them that we are coming to set them free. The message went out. It traveled across light years in seconds, carried by relay stations and communication drones. It reached every corner of space. And everywhere it went, people began to hope. The broadcast reached every corner of the galaxy within days. Footage of the battle played on every screen, on every world, in every language. The conquered species watched in disbelief. The empire that had terrorized them for thousands of years had been broken in a single day. But it was Director's message that changed everything. She appeared on screens across the galaxy, standing in a simple room with the Earth visible through a window behind her. She did not wear fancy clothes or sit on a throne. She looked like an ordinary person. She spoke like an ordinary person. To all species living under occupation, she said, "My name is, I speak for the people of Earth. We have defeated the fleet. Their empire is finished, and now we are coming to you." She paused. Her eyes were serious but not cold. "We are not coming to conquer you. We have no interest in ruling other worlds. We are coming to give you a choice. You can rebuild your own civilizations. You can govern your own planets. You can decide your own futures. We will help you if you want help. We will leave you alone if you want to be left alone. The decision is yours. We ask only one thing in return. We ask that you never again allow a species to be destroyed simply because they are young or small or different. We almost were. We remember what that fear feels like. We remember hiding our strength because we were afraid the galaxy would crush us before we could grow." Her voice became harder. "No one else should have to feel that fear. No one else should have to hide. The strong should protect the weak, not hunt them. That is what we believe. That is what we will fight for, and if anyone disagrees." She smiled. It was not a threatening smile. It was the smile of someone who knew exactly how strong they were and did not need to prove it. "We will be happy to discuss it with them." Captain led the first Liberation fleet to station. This was where Admiral had made her stand. This was where humanity's sacrifice had begun. It felt right to start the liberation here. The garrison surrendered without firing a shot. They had seen the footage of the battle. They knew they could not win. They simply opened the station doors and walked out with their hands raised. Walked through the station with Lieutenant beside him. Had survived the first battle in a damaged escape pod. He had drifted for 3 days before a rescue ship found him. He had burns on half his face that would never fully heal. But he was alive, and he had asked to return to station. "This is where she died," said quietly. They were standing in front of a memorial wall. Someone had carved the names of every human who had died in the defense. There were 3,400 names. Read them slowly. Each name was a person. Each person had a family, a history, a future that was never lived. They had died so that others could survive. He took a metal tool from his pocket and began to carve words beneath the list of names. When he finished, the wall read, "Your hours bought us everything." Stared at the words, tears ran down his face. "She knew," he said. "Admiral knew the truth. She knew Earth had a secret fleet. She told me once that we were not dying for nothing. She said we were dying so the enemy would underestimate us." She was right, said. She was right about everything. In the months that followed, humanity did something no galactic power had ever done. They kept their promises. Occupied worlds were freed. Soldiers were removed and sent home. Populations were given food, medicine, and tools to rebuild. Human engineers helped repair damaged infrastructure. Human doctors treated the sick and wounded. Human teachers shared knowledge freely with anyone who wanted to learn. The other species did not understand at first. They kept waiting for the trap. They kept waiting for the humans to reveal their true intentions. Surely this was all a trick. Surely the humans wanted something in return. But the months turned into years, and the trap never came. Admiral took command of what became known as the Liberation Fleet. Her mission was simple: find any species being hunted for extinction and protect them. The galaxy thought they knew what humans were, she told her crews. They thought we were weak. They thought we were short-lived and emotional. They were right about the emotional part. We feel things deeply. We remember our friends. We remember our enemies. We remember everyone who was kind to us when we were small and everyone who was not. She looked at the stars on her command screen. They forgot something important about emotions. Fear is an emotion too. And now, for the first time, the hunters are the ones who feel it. One standard year after the Battle of Earth, Director addressed the newly formed Galactic Council. 37 species had sent representatives. They gathered in a great hall on a neutral station, built specifically for this purpose. Stood before them, she was older now. The year had been hard, but her eyes were still sharp and her voice was still strong. "We do not want to rule you," she said. "Honestly, we do not even want to be your protectors forever. What we want is for every species in this galaxy to have the chance we almost did not have. The chance to grow, the chance to explore, the chance to become whatever you are capable of becoming." A representative from spoke up. "And if we fail, what if we fight among ourselves? What if we repeat the same cycles of violence and conquest?" Smiled. "Then we will be disappointed, but we will not give up on you. Humans are stubborn that way. We believe in second chances. We believe in third chances. We believe that people can be better if they are given the opportunity." She looked around the room. Dozens of species, hundreds of worlds, trillions of beings whose futures had been changed by a single battle. The Dominion proclaimed victory too soon. They are not the first to make that mistake about us. They probably will not be the last. Her voice grew serious. "But here is what I hope everyone remembers. We did not hide our strength because we wanted to destroy the Dominion. We hid it because we hoped we would never have to use it." She paused. "We still hope that, but hope is not the same as expectation. Anyone else who thinks Earth is easy prey is welcome to test that theory." The room was silent. "We will be ready." Somewhere far away, Lieutenant stood on the rebuilt station. He looked out at the stars. Somewhere among those stars, a young species was taking its first steps into space. Somewhere, another civilization was building its first ships. Somewhere, new minds were dreaming of the future. They did not know about the humans yet. They did not know about the wars and the sacrifices and the hope. But they would. One day, when they were ready, they would join the Galactic Council. They would learn the story of the Battle of Earth. They would learn about Admiral and Director and all the others who had fought for a better galaxy. And they would understand. Humanity had not fought for power. Humanity had not fought for revenge. Humanity had fought for something much simpler. They had fought so that no one else would have to be afraid. And that was a victory worth dying for. The end.